Hi, everyone. It is Carol C.C. Miller coming to you, your positivity trainer, peace activator, and global hugger. And before we get started on today's topic, which is about perception, I wanted to always say, as I always do, how I love hugs and the power of hugs. So if you're joining me today and you need a hug to heighten your celebrations or to lessen your sorrows, please put in comments where you're joining me from, and after I get done chatting with you, I will join you for some virtual hugs because I've been able to experience and witness the power of hugs. So I hope that it helps you. We could all use a hug here and there. So please join me in that. And of course, if you have any questions along the way on the topic at hand, give me your questions and I will try to follow through on the comments as I talk. I'm here to heighten your celebrations and lessen your sorrows through a positive focus. And today's topic of perception came up. I was just thinking that I've actually been blogging for 9 years now. Pretty much I blog once a week and I send it out in an email. Sometimes it's a couple of times a week, but it's generally once a week. And I have a format of I share a little story of something that's gone on in my life or a friend's life or one of my clients' lives or something like that. And then I follow through with moving forward. Here's how you can add some positivity to that experience. And then I do some quotes and I do a song. I pick a song that matches up with the message at hand. So those are fun ways to go about my blogging, and I've been doing it again for 9 years. So I realized that my very first one was on perception. So I reread it today and I'm like, oh wow, my writing skills have changed quite a bit since that 9 years. But the word of perception is still incredibly powerful. And I think the more we think about how we perceive things, the more gentle we can be with others, and certainly the more gentle we can be with ourselves. So I was going to start off with the actual definition of perception, and that's the ability to see, hear, or become aware of something through our senses. Now, we all have different experiences, and we can be in the same place looking at the same thing and perceive it differently. So it's how we're facing our experience through our senses, not your friend's senses, not the stranger sitting on the train next to you senses. It's your senses that you feel it through. And as I mentioned, one of the things with my blog is I love to pull quotes. You've heard me say it before, I'm a big word person. And one that I really liked from that blog was, it's not what you look at that matters, it's what you see. It's not what you look at that matters, it's what you see. And that's Henry David Thoreau. And even that example of we perceive things differently. We could be driving down a street together and see this beautiful old mansion that is, let's say it's even well maintained and it's just a gorgeous old house. Now, for me, I may see it and perceive it as this beautiful old house and think of the memories of what it must have been like to live in a house like that, where perhaps the person sitting next to me in the car grew up in a house like that and had abusive situations in that house. So seeing that house, it's just a house. It does not have any feeling or emotion, but it brings back feelings and emotions for us. So my perception is, wow, that is a beautiful, cool old house. Their perception of it is bringing back memories of pain and neglect and sadness. So when we think about how we perceive things, we can possibly step back from it, and rather than immediately jump to a conclusion of what we're seeing in front of us and how we're perceiving it, and look at it from a slightly different angle. Now, that doesn't mean you're going to change your perception. It could very well be what you're seeing in that second. You've made that decision knowing it's good or knowing it's bad. It's all your perception. I can't tell you your perception is right or wrong. That is yours. But what I can ask of you, and what I ask of you all the time, is to think about how you're feeling in the moment. Because when we're connected to our feelings is when we can make changes. We can either connect to that feeling of negative judgment. I try to say that instead of just saying judgment, because I could say you have a beautiful smile, and that's a judgment. So when you're connecting to why you're feeling a negative judgment towards somebody, then you can inquire about it. Like yesterday's talk with Paul was inquiring with the work of Byron Katie. So it's really about stepping back. How do I feel about this, rather than just reacting immediately to this is bad, this is good. There's so many different parts of things that go around us that we don't have control over, but we do have control over us. It's not always easy to have control over us if we're in a challenging situation. It's certainly easy to feel bad about it and think, I hate this, I don't want this. So it's really a choice to look at the feelings and then move through those feelings with just feeling a little bit better than you did a moment before. It's not like you're going from depression to joy in a moment. It possibly could happen, but most likely it's not going to. So you want to take those steps along the way. And another example that I think is so powerful when we talk about perception is how we perceive the world. Now, I could tell you the world is going to hell and it's horrible. And honestly, I could come up with many examples to share with you. I'm not going to, but I could share many, many examples with you that substantiates that feeling, that says, yep, you're right, Carol, that is exactly a bad thing that's going on right now. Or I could tell you the world is rainbows and sunshine and lollipops and all things good. Now, I can give you examples of that too, and focus on just everything being beautiful and perfect and everything's going on the way it's supposed to, and giving you that story. Now, that story, I can give you examples to make that right too. It's a perception, but my perception of the world, and it's my perception, I can't tell you how you perceive the world, is the world is beautiful and the world is messy. And when I can bring beauty and I can bring compassion and I can bring kindness to the messy spots of the world, the messy spots in me, if I can be kind and gentle with my messiness, if I can be kind and gentle with my friends' messiness, my family's messiness, my clients' messiness, and at the same time be happy and even ecstatic and really raise up the celebrations. As I say, I like to uplift and honor your celebrations and help lessen your sorrows. So we get a choice on how we perceive every experience we go through. So I'm going to just give you some quick tips. One is, I say it all the time, is to take some deep breaths. When you find yourself in a fear-based thought, which could be anger, it could be frustration, it could be scared, whatever type of feelings that does not feel good. Lily, I will get to that in just a moment. Now, I will say, Lily just asked me a question about postpartum depression. I am going to preface that with, I am a positivity trainer. I am not a counselor who has studied depression. So I will give you some tips on that, but I really do encourage you, if you are identifying yourself with postpartum depression, to seek expert help with that. I am happy to share some thoughts with you on that. So I will get to that in just a second. And even for you, Lily, I mean, you've got some whole hormonal thing going on, but to take some deep breaths, because when we're coming from a space of fear, of depression, sorrow, all of these types of things, then we're constricting ourselves and we're usually not breathing in deeply. And when we breathe in deeply, we're refilling our body to be able to make better judgments and better decisions. So it's a step back for a second, take some deep breaths. It doesn't mean what's going on in front of you has changed a lot, but it does mean you're giving yourself the opportunity to see it in a little bit of a different light, because you are now fully energized with fresh oxygen. And then the second thing would be to take ownership of it. I mean, how many times, and it's a small difference, and I hope you can see the difference, because not everybody sees it that way. And again, this is my perception, but rather than saying the world is bad, say, I feel the world is bad. Now, I can't tell you your feelings are wrong. I can tell you, if you tell me the world is bad, I can come up with example after example after example that the world is good, and vice versa. You could tell me the world is good, and I can give you examples of it being bad. But if you tell me I feel the world is good, I can't change your feelings. Those are your feelings. I could still possibly give you examples on how I feel, but I would encourage you to, rather making a blanket statement that that person is bad, this person is good, to own it for you. I feel this is a good person. I feel this person is trouble, but to own those feelings. So that way you're allowing other people's feelings to matter, and you're just saying, this is how I feel. And again, I really go back to, how do you feel? When you know that you feel great, you can enhance it and stay there. When you know you're feeling less than, then you start taking small steps on feeling better. I'm in the process of feeling better. Lily, for you, it'd be, I'm in the process of my body is changing and shifting, and my hormones are changing, and I'm in the process of growing into a better place. Again, Lily, I really, really do want to encourage you, because I don't want anybody to think that you can step from being a super positive person to truly be, from depression. So there are steps to be had with that. And my training is not in training of depression. So I really do encourage you to seek out people who have more experience with that topic than I do. But I'm definitely here to help support you in the ways that I can support you in that. And then I would encourage you, for the third thing, would be to play what if. And so if you've made a perception of something being bad, a person being bad, what if you saw it differently? What if you could see the good in that person? What if you could see the good in that experience, or what's going on in the world? And maybe it's not even good. Maybe you can see the experience going in on the world right now as a necessary thing to clear out some negativity or clear out something. It's lessening the hold that that perception that you've chosen to have on you. It'll allow you to go back into a better feeling place quicker when you're not saying, this is bad, this is good, and making a judgment of being open to seeing it in different ways. And then my last tip is to really be gentle with yourself and to be gentle with others. I really do believe that the vast majority of us are doing the best that we can in the moment. There's a tiny, again, my beliefs, there's a tiny fraction of people in this entire world of 7 billion people that are wired to harm and to hurt. My belief is hurt people hurt others. So if I'm going to continue hurting them for hurting others, I'm creating more of it. We all have consequences to our actions, whether they're positive consequences or negative consequences. So I'm not saying, oh, that's okay, you can go ahead and do those mean things and get away with it. But I am saying, for me perceiving them and judging it as horrible and bullying, then I'm just creating more of it. So I really encourage you to be gentle with yourself. I know personally I'm much harder on myself than I am on anybody else. And a lot of times it comes from just being unconscious about it. I'm not paying attention to what I'm saying to myself. So the more you're aware of your feelings, then you can decide to stay in that feeling of disappointment or anger or whatever, or you can move through them. There's always going to be people who those don't work. There's not a one size fits all in this world. If there was, that I'd be promoting that right now. But you need to experience your perception of life, knowing it's from your history with your family, with your friends, with your teachers. It's with your chemical hormonal balance or imbalance. There's so many things that go into how we move through the day. But when you can choose to move through the day with a little bit more appreciation, a little bit more kindness, and a little bit more gentleness, especially towards yourself, the better that you'll be handling and the more you're going to feel good. So let me go over those tips again. So one, honestly, I should say always, is awareness. You need to be aware of how you feel in order to make changes. Then it's to take some deep breaths to really refuel and give yourself energy to face whatever you're going through or whatever you're seeing and perceiving. And then the third is to take ownership of it. Rather than saying they're a bad person, the world a bad place, say, I feel that's a bad person, or I feel the world is in trouble. And that way you're owning how you're perceiving it rather than seeing it as a blanket statement. Because again, the world, there's many examples of the world being a beautiful, loving place, and there's many examples of the world being a fearful, scary place. So we get to choose where we're going to put our focus and what we're going to grow with our focus. And then play what if. What if it was different? I mean, you can certainly play what if on the negative thing that you're perceiving something beautiful and like, what if that was ugly? I encourage you not to do that, but you certainly can. It's, that's a choice that you get to make for yourself on if you're wanting to bring your feelings heightened and feel better about yourself, or you're wanting to lessen your feelings. It's totally your choice. And then the fourth one is to truly just be gentle with yourself. So those are my tips for today. If any of these have helped you, I would love for you to share them. And then Lily, let's see here. At postpartum depression, how do you get over depression and jealousy and envy? Ooh, well, I'm happy to discuss, happy may not be the right word, on envy and jealousy. Because when we are envious or jealous of another person, really it's because we want it for ourselves more than, usually jealousy is like you don't want that person to have it, but you want it. So one of the things I encourage people, when you see somebody else have something that you want and you get into that envious or jealous stage, I mean, to me, envy is almost okay because you're envious of what they have. You're not trying to take it away from them. But I really encourage you that when you're seeing something that you want that you don't have, yes, that, I love that. Me too, please. And be happy for that person that has what you want, or that you perceive has what you want, because we all have different experiences. It may look beautiful and perfect on the outside, and then internally they're having a hard time. So instead of being jealous about what others have or envious of what others have, just look at it as, oh, they're showing me what I would like to have. I would like that too. The more that we can honor each other and support each other and be kind to each other, the more we're going to grow honor and support and kindness in our own hearts too. Lily, regarding the postpartum depression, my tips again, first my tip is to definitely seek other resources that have actual information. And one thing that I would encourage you in that research is to know if what you're being told resonates with you. Because there's lots of coaches out there, there's lots of trainers out there, there's lots of psychologists and psychiatrists, and everybody comes from their perception of life, from their perception of their studies, from their perception of their research. So just know that, listen to how you feel about the person when you're, getting into a support group or whatever. Are they making you feel good and helping you feel good, I should say. You're still the one at that. Or are they making you fall more into that negative feeling that you're going through right now? Really, really be gentle with yourself, your body, your hormones. I don't know how far along it's been since you've had your baby, and if it's a baby girl or boy, or hopefully all is well with your baby. So to really be gentle with yourself and keep focusing on just tiny steps of feeling better. If you're depressed, and I'm going to say this outside of postpartum depression, before I really got into positive psychology and science of mind, I was that person that you could say, life is horrible and really sucks. And I would be that person. Oh, a baby boy was 7 months. Aw, that's so sweet. I would be that person who would tell you, Lily, life is good. Be happy. Well, when you're in depression, you can't hear happy. It's way too far on the scale. So I was being of disservice to my friends who were in a very sad space, not knowing it. And they probably wanted to slap me, honestly. So it's really gentle steps to move more towards a good feeling place. And one of those is to be easy on yourself, knowing your body is going through a lot of changes, and to seek some support from people who have either experienced it personally themselves or are trained in postpartum depression. Actually, when I get off of this, I'm going to do a little research myself and see if I can find some different options to send your way, and you can choose from there if they're ones that resonate with you or not. But hopefully, again, these tips have helped. That's what I'm here for, is to support and enhance your celebrations and lessen your sorrows through a positive focus. What is coming up next for me is Global Free Hugs, and I can't believe it. It's 3 weeks away. May 6th and 7th. It's all over the world. It's easy to join, and I would love it if you would join. It's just to spread some kindness through the simple gesture of a free hug. And I've been doing that for 9 years as well. And I think right now we have 4 continents, 12 countries, and 17 U.S. states signed up. So we're a little bit behind where we've been in years past, but I always know it's going to be exactly what it needs to be. I'll put the link in here on how you can join me. I'm going to be in Santa Fe, New Mexico that weekend at a Train the Trainer conference with Mike Dooley. And he is a law of attraction speaker, trainer, and he has a book called Infinite Possibilities. And that's what that weekend is about, where we're training people on how to live their life with infinite possibilities. And if they so choose, like me, to share it with other people. But the process in the book and the program itself is good just to live in your own life. So if you're interested in that, I'm speaking at that conference, so I'll post that too. So I'd love to see you in May in Santa Fe, or in September if you want to. It's a small group of people. We're doing our first Embrace the World tour, and we're going to Croatia for 10 days. And we'll be doing free hugs there, although I promise you, if you're not a hugger, you don't have to join Loretta and I, my partner in this. She is a travel agent and has taken people on tours many, many times. But you will have me for 10 days with positivity tips and training. And I promise you, Loretta's a bunch of fun as well. So you could take it just as a vacation. You could take it to enhance your positivity muscles, or you can take it to spread some kindness in the world through a free hug. I'll post that as well. Again, thank you so, so much for being part of the Positive Focus community. I appreciate it. I'm grateful for you. And again, just here to try to help heighten and brighten your day. We all have experiences. I am immersed in positivity. I coach it. I speak about it. I write about it. Guess what? I still have moments of being angry or sad or disappointed. I now have better tools to work through it than I did in the past. So life is going to continue to throw those curveballs at us, and we get to decide how we're going to manage them. So again, thank you so much. Share this if it was helpful to you, and we will talk again very soon. You matter. You matter to me. You matter to the world. And most importantly, you matter to you. So go out there and have a great day. Bye-bye.